Hello friends, welcome to Heart Tales. Through this channel, I intend to share my observations, experiences and reflections throughout my journey of being a cardiac surgeon, and in turn be of some help to all the aspiring surgeons and in turn be of some help to all the aspiring medicos and to the ones who have already embarked on this journey. So let us start with what after general surgery. Well, all of us had some plans for the future after general surgery residency. But once when you are done with it, it becomes a little tricky, right? Well, let me assure you, you're not alone in this. At this point, let me be clear that this talk is not going to be anywhere into technicalities of post general surgery residency, the options after general surgery or the prospectus in general surgery. I don't want to deal with the doing part of after general surgery, but I want you to stress upon the being part of being a surgeon and not just the doing part of being a surgeon. For this talk, I've categorized 6 different kinds of people and their approaches after general surgery plans. The first are the ones who are very clear about which super specialty to choose after general surgery residency. The second one is the one who is sure that he wants to do some sort of specialty, some super specialty, but he's unsure about what branch to choose. And the third are the ones who are contented in being a postgraduate in general surgery and they mostly join a private practice or join a government setup, or they do some sort of a smaller fellowship and they initiate their practice. The fourth are those who are not really okay with just being a postgraduate general surgeon, but they want to add up a little more to the tag, and so that they get into observership, a long-term fellowship, and some of them take up the noble job of teaching into a private or government setup, and some of them take up the beautiful art of teaching after being a general surgeon. The fifth are the ones who want to go abroad and pursue their further surgical ventures. So usually they take up USMLEs, MRCS, AMCs, NZREX, etc. And the sixth one are the most important one, rather the majority of them, who are unsure about what to do next after general surgery residency. And hence my talk is directed mostly over these section of my fellow surgical aspirants. So let me tell you first and upfront, it is not mandatory to get into something after general surgery residency. So let me tell you this, it is not mandatory that you should get into something immediately after general surgery residency. Just because your fellows are going ahead, just because they're clear about what to do next, it doesn't imply that you should also be knowing. Everybody has their own life processes. Their own experiences of life have gotten them to that point where they are, and so are you. And it is very natural and bound to happen that after a rigorous course of training into general surgery, your physical, mental, emotional and social well-being is hampered, and hence you need time to recalibrate yourself. You need time to rejuvenate the losses, the subtle losses or the subtle blocks that have been built up through this course of training. Well, isn't it wiser to wait for the wound to heal, for the wound to granulate before you plan for a secondary suturing? Hence I suggest the first thing to do is to hit the button pause, and pause to recalibrate yourself, to repair yourself in a methodic, systematic approach, for which a structured sabbatical is something that I advise. Sabbatical by dictionary is an extended period of leave from your routine work. Well, I want you to focus on the word structured sabbatical. It has to be structured because this is a transitional phase of your whole life and career. So I don't want you to go haywire and at random, because this phase is going to build a platform for the next 10 to 15 years of your life. Because if you go random at this phase, you might just get caught up into unnecessary commitments, unnecessary actions and consequences. So I've categorize the sabbatical, the structured sabbatical, into an academic sabbatical and a non-academic sabbatical. If you choose to do a non-academic sabbatical, so what I mean by a non-academic sabbatical is a period of somewhere around 3 to 4 months wherein you don't join any hospital, you don't join any post, but you dedicate this time to be with yourself, to analyze yourself, to invest into your self-growth and beautify your vision of being a surgeon. And hence, you take this pause to observe yourself, to observe what you have become. Most often, people are not the same when they entered the residency program and when they are about to exit the program. Things have taken a toll on you. Your way of thinking, your way of approach towards things in life. And you need this pause because a lot of thoughts, experiences, informations gathered over these 3 years are yet to be processed by your system. You need time to do that. So in this non-academic sabbatical, I suggest first thing is to travel solo. Not very far, but wherever. It might be just to the next town or district, but travel solo. Because traveling solo is more like being with your own self. It is traveling with your own self. There's a beautiful saying which goes like, if you are not okay being alone, that means you're in a bad company. If this solo thing is not at all possible, I suggest to travel like an explorer, not like a tourist. Explore the place, the geography, the people, their customs, their language, their food. Get into the skin of being a local. You need to expose your system to a different atmosphere, a different paradigm altogether, which will help you recalibrate better. The next thing that I would suggest is to learn a musical instrument, whatever it is of your choice. See, all of us have always thought of learning or buying an instrument. This is the right time to do it. You have the money or you get the money and buy the instrument. I know that this 3 to 4 months of non-academic sabbatical is not enough to learn a musical instrument, but it is enough to start playing or learning the instrument. It adds up to your tools of life. Just to extend this context, I suggest that every academic qualification that you achieve, you should be able to initiate yourself into a new musical instrument with every degree that you get. At least initiate. You need not master it, but initiate yourself into learning and playing the instrument. And the third thing would be to get back to hardcore sports. Get back to working out. Your physical body is your vessel. And most importantly, being a surgeon is more of being an athlete philosopher, they say. So we need to focus on the athlete part. It is a heart-wrenching scene to see that the more a medico grows through his academic qualifications, the more unfit he tends to become. Let us stop this trend, or let us assume this as being very natural and take care of our physical health. Another important thing that you can take up in this non-academic sabbatical would be to start reading. Start reading non-fiction for now. It is going to challenge your thought process. It will be thought-provoking at times. Start journaling, start writing down your thoughts, start articulating them. It can be anything. It can be abstract. It can be about life, surgery. It can be about society. It can be about health or whatever. The next thing that you need to do is to meet your friends and relatives, the marriages that you could not attend, the functions that you could not be a part of. Just ping them and try to meet them and just get back to them again. Congratulate them again. Apologize for not being a part of the function. While all this has been going, I strongly recommend to not get into any sort of emotional relationship. For that matter, any relationship, because this is the time when you have to invest into yourself. So if you are single, stay single and don't mingle. But if you are into a committed relationship, invest your time into that. Start sharing your vision about life. Start listening more about the vision of your partner. Start exchanging more thoughts at a more subtler and deeper level. And do it consciously, do it as an exercise. Discuss your dilemmas, discuss your goals, and help each other grow mutually. Let it be a symbiotic relationship. Dream bigger, and two people can dream as big as you could not as an individual. Well, I want to further clarify why I'm talking about not getting into relationship. I have observed and experienced that after the residency, we become more emotionally vulnerable, sort of become more dependent on people around us. So this phase has to go. We have to somewhere find that self-emotional independence to some extent. You cannot be independent totally, you should not be, but to some extent, from that vulnerability to independency to some extent has to be sought for. And that is why I am suggesting in this 3 to 4 months of a non-acad break, just be by your own self and invest into your self growth. So this non-academic sabbatical is exclusively for you to dig deeper into yourself, to see what you have become, to edit what you don't want to become, to adapt and grow and evolve. So stay single so that you can wisely mingle henceforth.